Well, hello and welcome back. Hopefully you've done as much as you can with activity 2. Hopefully there were some challenges, but let's check and see how you did. Let's start first by filling in the table of data. Filling in the table of data means we have to pick out the pattern here. Let's look at G. From 2 to 3, plus 1. From 3 to 4, plus 1. So that seems to feel like a pattern. If it was plus 1 to get to 2, well then this must have been 1 because 1 plus 1 would be 2. If we continue this pattern, 3 plus 1 would be 5, but plus 1 more would not be 2. So this is a bit of a problem. We have to back up a little bit. How would we get from 5 back down to 2? It appears as if we've changed direction. This perhaps is 3, which would mean this was minus 1, minus 1, minus 1 to get to 1, and our pattern seems to work, which would mean if we did minus 1 again, we'd have 0, and minus 1 would be negative 1. Well, in dealing with this confusion here about direction change, we actually discovered our vertex right here where we had to turn around, where we stopped adding and started subtracting. That's the vertex. Vertex is 17 and 4. And we can use that right now to write the equation. You didn't do it before, but please do it now. Right, so we learned last week, right, that the vertex tells us about the equation. Right, so absolute value of x minus 17 plus 4. But now before we go on, we have to investigate. Was there a stretch? Doesn't appear to be so. These are all 1s. But look at the direction. This graph is showing that our data increase, and then they turn around and they decrease. So you can see if you make a quick sketch that this V shape is actually upside down, which means while we don't have a stretch because it's 1s, we do need to have a negative, which indicates the reflection. So watch out for that. This one is flipped over. How about h of x? Let's see how we did here. 14 to 11, that looks like minus 3. 11 to 8, that's also minus 3. I'm seeing a pattern. Subtract 3 again to get to 5, and again to get to 2, and again gives us negative 1. If I subtract 3, I'm at negative 4. Oh, but looks like we turned around. This is now plus 3. And plus 3 to get up to 2. So we can see here where we stopped decreasing and started increasing. That indicates our vertex. Hello, vertex. Right there. 8, negative 4. We can use that to write the equation. Write it along with me unless you already did. All right, we can see the shift over to 8 and then down 4. Is there a stretch? This one's easier to see because we can see the change here is 3 and the change here well, this should actually be a 12. Way to go, Klein. Make that change. That should be a 12. We can see the change here is 2. All right, so this is going by 2. So the change is 3 over 2. The y is changing 3. The x is changing 2. Is it upside down or right side up? Well, let's look at what the y values are doing. As the x values get large, the y value decreases, and then they turn and they start to increase. Okay, so we can see that's right side up. So the slope is positive 3 over 2. All right, on to these compositions. Compositions mean we have to evaluate first one function and then the other. It's a function inside of a function. So to evaluate here, g of h of negative 4, right, first make sure you think about h of negative 4. When you input negative 4 into the h function, 14 comes out. Then we have to think of g of 14. That's what composition is all about. So we look at g, input 14, see out comes 1. Let's check your answers to the other ones real quick. If you've got this all wrong, why don't you pause the video here, go back, finish the other ones, and then come back and watch the video. Otherwise, keep watching if you just need to check answers. G of 17 is 4. h of 4. Yep, that's right. H of 4 is 2. G of 21, 0. And so h of 0 is 8. Now this last one, h of negative 2, you can see h of negative 2 is 11, but when we think about g of 11, I don't see 11 on this table. The table starts at 14. So how am I going to evaluate g of 11? Well, hopefully you already figured out you can just follow the pattern a little bit. Right, so 14, before 14 would be 13, and then 12, and then 11. So keep following the pattern by adding 1. Well, I guess we're going backwards, so subtract 1. So go backwards from 1, minus 1 would be 0, minus 1 would be negative 1, minus another 1 would be negative 2. And there you can see when you input 11 into G, out comes negative 2. So for that one, you had to continue the pattern. Did you do it? All right, go on, finish activity 3. I'll see you soon.